Hello, my friend, and welcome to another episode of I Love Being Sober, sponsored by Camelback Recovery, Arizona's preferred mental health and addiction treatment option to help people get on the path or stay on the path to recovery. My name is Tim Westbrook, and I'm the founder and CEO of Camelback Recovery here in the always sunny and always sober Scottsdale, Arizona, where my team and I, over the course of many years, have helped thousands of people to stop their suffering and continue on their path to recovery. The purpose of this podcast is to come clean with all of the misinformation that's out there about recovery, addiction treatment, mental illness, and the strategies to thrive in life. Visit camelbackrecovery.com to learn more about our treatment strategies for alcoholism, drug addiction, or mental illness. And we even offer recovery coaching so that you can enjoy the freedom and happiness you've always searched for. Today, we have a guy that has helped millions of people just by telling his story. He is a guy with massive ambitions who I know is going to bring out the best in you. During his lifetime, he's chased what it means to be world-class in 5 different disciplines. And I think it would be more than fair to say that he's achieved a true level of greatness in all of them. He's been an all-pro NFL player, a Broadway playwright, an in-demand public speaker, and most recently, an 8-time best-selling author. Get ready to hear him talk about the one factor that's been the driving force behind his success in all of these disciplines. He's going to show you how you can begin to harness the story of the power of your own story and use it to either achieve greatness in whatever field you're working in or deliver more impact if you are sharing your experience, strength, and hope at a meeting or with a newcomer. Without further ado, I want to welcome Bo Eason.
All right, Tim, thank you, man. Great to be here.
All right. So good to have you here. And Bo, I first watched you speak at an event, I believe in 2018. I have many friends who know you and who know of the Personal Story Power event that you run, and it's in La Jolla. It's at a beautiful setting in La Jolla, and I got so much out of it. And now I'm part of your mastermind group, and I love what I've learned from you. And I know that being a man in recovery, I get to tell my story, and if I know how to tell my story, if I tell it in a better way, I'm going to make a bigger impact. My story is going to resonate with more people, and many people in my audience, they're also in recovery, and they get to share their story. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too. That's great. You know, like when I got into, it's funny, Tim, when I got into storytelling initially, it was really to save my own butt. You know, it was,
okay.
You know, because I was so this probably will relate to your audience really well. So when I was an NFL player, I had my 7th knee surgery. So I'm 5 years into the league. I blow up my knee. I break my ankle and my leg at the same time. And I'm laying, and this will be my 7th knee surgery at the age of like 26, right? So I just remember laying at the bottom of that pile in Miami. We're playing the Dolphins. And there was like 7, 8 guys on top of me. And I heard the snapping, you know, of my knee and my leg and my ankle, and everybody heard it in the whole pile up. And when you hear that sound in an NFL pile up, everyone starts checking their extremities really quick. Like, oh man, was that me? Was that? Because you can't really feel it. And you know, I was laying at the bottom of the pile and I didn't feel anything, so I didn't think it was me. But I looked over to my left like this, and my foot was right next to my head. And it was pointing that way, right? And there was a bunch of guys on top of me. And I was like, fellas, I think that one was me. And they're like, oh, good, it wasn't me.
Yeah, better you than me.
Yeah, but that, you know, that episode, that little story changed everything, because I thought what I did best in the NFL as a safety was hurt people. Like I was dangerous. I was intimidating. I was a dirty player, they said. And that's what I got paid for. And that's what I got acknowledged for. This was in the 80s, right? When all those things were legal.
Right.
So as I was being wheeled off of the field, all I thought of for my future was I'm going to end up in prison, because what I do best is against the law in the civilian world. And if I got to enter the civilian world, I'm going to be in trouble, right? And then the very next thing that entered my mind to avoid prison was, I've got to learn to express myself, tell my story like I do physically on an NFL field, because I was really good at that, but I had no training in the other. So right after I had the surgery, right after I went through recovery, I moved to New York City and started studying what it takes to be a great storyteller and what it takes to be physical enough to do that. Well, for your audience, listen to this, everybody. That's what saved me. I didn't know storytelling had these healing aspects to it. I didn't realize that. I just knew that I had to make a living in the civilian world, and I had to learn how to express myself to get these demons up and out of me and out in the world. And that way I could make a living and I could make a difference in people's lives. And that's where it pretty much all started.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, that kind of answers my first question, which, and we're actually, by the way, we're also going to talk about the difference between an amateur and a professional.
Yeah.
And I've heard you talk about being an amateur versus being a professional, and it makes me think about, so most people relapse within their first year. Less than 10% of people make it to a year of sobriety. And what's the difference between the two? I would say that the people that make it to a year, they act like professionals when it comes to their recovery. The amateurs, they don't take things seriously. They don't make sacrifices. They're not willing to do things that they don't want to do. The professionals, when it comes to recovery, are willing to do everything, whatever it takes. And I'll tell you what, when people relapse, it's always, of course they relapsed. It's never, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised they relapsed. Or, yeah, that person's still sober. Of course they're still sober. Of course they are. It's never a surprise, because people that follow through and do the things that they're supposed to do, those are the ones that make it. So we're also going to talk about the amateur versus the professional. Going back to my first question. Okay, what gives you the right to claim you are an expert on storytelling?
Gosh, I think we all are. You know, it's just in our blood. I mean, it's through our ancestors. You know, storytelling is the best way to teach, right? So the greatest teachers were, our ancestors, right? The cavemen, the cavewomen, and they told stories around the campfire of the hunt. And those stories taught the younger cave people coming up, right? The next generation, the stories of the hunt taught them how to hunt. Now, if you went like this, now listen, boys and girls, young cave people, let's do A, B, and C, and that will give us a good hunt. They didn't do that. They told the story of the hunt, which is how we're here today, right? So storytelling has been passed on century after century. That is the greatest way to train people. In this day and age, Tim, it is the greatest way to rebuild trust in a world that does not trust anymore. You know, all of our institutions, whether it's the medical institutions, whether it's education, whether it's politics, whether it's, the FBI or the CIA or the military, no, we used to trust those people, the news media. We used to trust all of those institutions, like without even thinking about it. But you notice when you hear them speak anymore, like in today's world, you go like this as an audience member, you go, I wonder if that's true. Where a few years ago, you just went like this. Oh yeah, if the military tells me that, or if a doctor tells me that, that must be true. It's not, no one trusts anymore. The fastest and the quickest way to restore trust which would make you a leader. Like if you just decided today to begin sharing your personal story, that would give you automatic trust, and it would put you at the front of the line as far as what we're looking for in a leader. Because if you notice, we don't trust leadership anymore either. So if we trust you, guess what you've just become to us? Our leader, our captain.
Right.
That's why it's so, and here's something I never talk about, Tim, but you know this to be true. Storytelling has these healing aspects to it, because ultimate health is the ability to share your own narrative, to share your own life, right? Which is what you're really getting amazing at. And the better you get at it, the more trust you garner, and then the more people look to you as that leader and as an inspiration and a healer. It's pretty wild how they see you if they trust you.
Yeah, I can't even tell you that resonates with me. I know that sharing my story, and I've been sharing my story ever since I first got clean and sober, and that's not only am I helping other people. I mean, I'm going to share my experience, strength, and hope, and I'm going to share at meetings, and I'm going to share with newcomers, and I'm going to share with loved ones, family members, and it builds trust. And I'm not like, I'm totally open and honest with my story, and if I can help another person, amazing. And I'm also helping myself.
Yeah.
So you already talked about this. What specific incident inspired you to be so passionate about helping people learn how to tell their story? So you shared the story about why you started telling story. What made you so passionate about teaching other people how to tell their story?
Yeah, just because I thought my life was over at the age of 26. I said, I've trained for 20 years to be the best in the world at one thing. And that one thing, best safety in the world, does not translate well to the civilian world. And I thought, I'm going to really hurt people. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm not going to be a useful member of this society. And I didn't know that my own storytelling would help others. I didn't know that initially. I just started to learn my story. I started to perform it. I wrote a play that, is being made into a movie, and it got, went on a 50-city tour, and it opened in New York twice. It made a difference in people's lives, and I didn't know it would, but they saw themselves inside of that story, right? My story of like survival and how I got there, and the anger that I felt and the training that I've had. All of the pain points in my life were portrayed in that story. Well, that's what your audience or your potential audience is attracted to. Isn't that funny? Like, you would think they would be attracted to your high moments, right? They're not. They're attracted to your low moments, and then what it takes to get out of that low moment up to the top. That's called story. That's what's inspiring to people. That's when I learned, oh shoot, people are finding themselves inside of the struggles that I had as a player. That they didn't care that I was an NFL player. They cared, how did you get there when they told you you'd never become an NFL player? How did you do it? That's what they're interested in. So think that way. Everybody who's watching us now, think that way about your own story. Don't think about your highest moment. Think of your lowest and how you started to take that first step out of the lowest moment toward the top. That moves the dial.
It's almost like that's what people connect with. That's what brings out compassion and empathy. That's what gets people to be more in a vulnerable state to where they're actually listening to you.
Yep.
That's kind of what I think when I hear you say that.
No, for sure. Because once you, like Tim, if you started to tell your story, or I told you guys a story right now, it would put me, or it would put you, Tim, into a vulnerable position. Now, we're not trying to be vulnerable. Like, most people are really bad at that. They think like vulnerability is crying. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about exposing your lowest moment puts you in a vulnerable position that people now trust and align themselves with. That's what I'm talking about. That it's not about crying. It's about, hey, look, when I was 9 years old, I had a dream to be the best safety in the world. And everybody told me there's no way in hell that can happen. And no college wanted me, and no pro team wanted me. And I just forced my way into that position until they agreed that I was the best at that position. That puts me in a vulnerable place, like nobody wanted me. Like, I'm at the lowest rung. If I want to be the best safety and I'm actually not, I'm actually the worst, that puts me in a position that people can relate to. And all of us have these stories, and those are the most powerful ones.
It gives you the opportunity to have a comeback story. It gives you the opportunity to be the hero. What happens when people tell a story about how great their life is and how great their life has always been, and rah rah, what happens when people tell that type of a story?
Think about it. Think about when you're at a party and you meet somebody, and the guy or the gal leads with their resume. Like, oh, do you know that I went to Harvard and I graduated #1 at Harvard? Then I went to law school. Then I became this. Then I married the beauty queen. And then we had 3 beautiful kids. And then I'm very rich and I got a fancy car. Well, what do you feel like doing to that person? You just want to scream and go, I do not trust this person for 1 minute. All I want to do is get away from them, because nobody cares about your resume. They care about before the resume. Like if you and me, Tim, decided today to make a movie about summiting Mount Everest, and we're going to make this movie, we would not start at the top of Mount Everest with a flag in our hand and smiling like this. Right. We wouldn't do that, because the movie would be over. It would be over before we even started. We would begin the movie with us looking up at the peak, however high that is, 33,000 feet or whatever it is, looking up going, shit, there's no way in hell we can make it. I might die. You're probably going to die. I'm going to have frostbite. We can't make it. We can't do it. That's good storytelling. That's because now the audience goes, they can't make it. They can't make it. And somehow they're going to try.
Yeah. It's like, you got to get them to the edge of their seat. There's no getting them to the edge of their seat if everything has always been great.
Yep. Okay. And I think about leadership in our country, in the world. And this is true, I think that it's important for your listeners to hear this, is if you notice, nobody trusts leadership anymore unless it's got some scar tissue on it. So think about that in your own life. Leaders, every great leader, think of every great movie that you love, whether it's Braveheart, whether it's Gladiator, whether it's a Clint Eastwood movie, whether it's a John Wayne movie, whether it's a movie that Margot Robbie is in. All of those performers in Ford movies, they have scars. In the beginning, they show a scar. They show their family being demolished. They show an injury to their spear, to their heart. They have they're covered with scar tissue. Rocky Balboa, they're covered with scar tissue. And you know why they do that? Because that's the only leader we trust. And that's the only leader we'll follow. So think of politics. All of these people are supposedly polished. They have no scar tissue on them. They went to an Ivy League school. They're very intellectual. They went to all the right places and all the right parties. and never achieved anything ever in their life of substance. And we don't trust them. That leadership model is bankrupt and it is over. The new leadership model is us, is the people who have been at the bottom, who didn't go to an Ivy League school, who battled their way to the top. Those are the people we trust. And typically those people have scars that you can either see on their face or they're invisible because their heart was taken out at a very young age. All of this is the good news for you and me. We all have that.
Yeah.
We have that. Guess who's not on this podcast right now? Guess who's not on this live right now? Politicians. If they were, they would learn something about leadership. They're not on here. Guess why? They're busy, lying, doing whatever they do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're not leaders anymore. If you look at the polls, they're not leaders. No one trusts them. Guess who they trust? The people with the scars, and that's us.
Right. Yeah, those are, and when I think about leadership, it's like, okay, there's one type of leader, which is the leader that says that has the title, right? So they have the title of leader, and we're told that they're the leader, but then they're not really the leader. Like the real leader, the true leader is the person that earns the leadership, the person that earns the trust, the person that people look up to, that people admire, that people want to be like. Those are the true leaders.
Yep. One of my favorite lines of all time in a movie, dialogue in a movie, is from Braveheart, where all the Scots get together and all the leaders of Scotland get together with William Wallace, Mel Gibson played, and they say to him, no one's going to follow you. They're advising Mel Gibson, no one's going to follow you because you don't have any titles. You're just this warrior. Yeah. You're nothing. Yeah. And what did he say back to him? He said, men don't follow titles. Men follow courage. And ain't it the truth? He said that in the 1600s and the 1500s.
Yeah. Still true today.
Still true today.
So why is our environment so important?
You have to, because you cannot overcome your environment. Your environment will take you out if it's faulty, if you didn't create it. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you this example. So if you and me and everybody on here commits to lose some weight, 15 pounds, say, like, oh, let's all lose 15 pounds. And then environmentally, we put a chocolate cake sitting in the middle of our room or our kitchen while we're trying to lose 15 pounds. You will have to use your willpower to overcome the inviting chocolate cake. You and me are committed to losing 15 pounds, but we have to walk by this chocolate cake like 100 times a day. Eventually that willpower will wear out and our environment will win. And in this case, that means the chocolate cake wins.
Yeah, right? Like Ben Hardy says, willpower doesn't work.
I love that book so much, Tim, that I had Dr. Ben come and talk to my group, one of my mastermind groups.
Yeah, I love it. I love his work as well, and I love that book. And it's environment always wins. The environment always wins. Eventually, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I mean, it might not be for 6 months, but environment always wins. And that's for the person that's trying to get clean and sober, the person that's on that path, hanging out with toxic people or hanging out at a bar. I mean, it's like, as they say, if you spend too much time at the barber shop, eventually you're going to get a haircut. Always.
So true. And it's such a simple thing. It also, I love this fact about environment. It makes you don't have to make decisions every day. Yeah. Decision-making choice is a myth, right? If you're committed to greatness, right? So I always think about when Tom Brady went from the New England Patriots to Tampa Bay. Well, there's no way in hell Tampa Bay can win a Super Bowl, right? They got a good team. They just can't win because their environment's all wrong. They got guys protesting the national anthem. They got guys are heading in all different directions after practice. There's no unity. There's no character. They have great players, but all they care about is their own fame. And then who arrives? The greatest player in the history of the game walks into the locker room, and right when he walks in, the environment changes. And he lays down the law. And the law is this, guys. No one's protesting this. No one's doing any of this distraction crap that keeps us from winning a Super Bowl. We're all on the same page to do one thing, and we're going to build this locker room, and we're going to build the whole building with the environment of we are winning a Super Bowl. That goes for food, that goes for the trainers, that goes for the recovery, that goes for how they're going to practice, that goes for their meetings. The whole environment changed when one dude showed up. And by some, what everyone thinks is a miracle, oh, how did Tampa Bay win a Super Bowl all of a sudden? I'll tell you why. One dude showed up and changed the environment forever. And you and me have that power. We have the power to shift every environment we enter. And Tim, think about this. You've taken my 3-day event, right? The environment that you enter, when Tim entered my 3-day event, the building that we do it in isn't just haphazardly chosen. It's not like, let's just get a hotel ballroom and train people on their story for 3 days. No, we get the state-of-the-art, immaculate theater where storytelling began, 500 years ago with Shakespeare, in a beautiful theater so that we can get your body on a stage, no different than Shakespeare did 500 years ago, and start to expose and physically have you embody your own story. The environment that is in those 3 days is very specific, Tim, and it's built. We build that environment with coaches, with expert eyeballs on you, whether it's physically or mentally or verbally. It's all on you so that we can get your story up and running in your life. Our environment of that theater does half the work for us. Because if we did it in some place that wasn't personal to us, that wasn't powerful, didn't have great lighting, wasn't great, the environment would suck and the event would suck. But people don't do this to their homes, the place they spend most of the time, their beds, the TV, their beds, their where their kids sleep, where their spouse. And that environment is I want it to be so immaculate that you don't have to make decisions all day long. Yeah. The chocolate cake is now out of there, so you don't have to use your willpower to decide whether you're going to eat it or not.
Less decisions is better.
Yes.
I think of a couple of things as you're talking. I think about a sober living environment. So typically people go to treatment for 30 to 60 days, and then after inpatient treatment, they either A, go to a sober living environment, or B, go back home to their old environment, which is the environment that they were in prior to getting clean and sober. Like, they got no chance. It's like you're going back to the place where you were active in your addiction, around the same people that you were in prior to getting clean and sober, prior to going to treatment. You're making it really hard for yourself. Yep. People that stay in a high quality sober living environment for 3 months post inpatient treatment, their chances go up by like 50% of staying clean and sober. It's all about the environment and putting themselves in the right place.
Yeah.
The other thing I think about as you're telling the Tom Brady story and creating that environment, and it's like, what's the main decision? What's the goal? If the goal is sobriety, that means that every single decision supports that decision. Does it make the boat go faster? It's always, there's never really, oh gosh, I got to think about it. Like, should I go to this bar? Well, I mean, I don't know. Should you go to this bar where everybody is drinking and getting wasted? Is that going to help you stay clean and sober? Or should I go do yoga?
Yeah.
Or should I go to a 12-step meeting? Or, who should I spend my time with? The
Yeah.
decision's already made. If you know what your goal is, that's why it's so important. Have a goal. And if you have a goal, okay, does this decision support my goal?
Yeah.
And if it does, the answer is yes. And if it doesn't, the answer is no.
That's right. That's right. Your life, I know it sounds like a boring life. Maybe it is, but you live that way. You watch your accomplishments and relationships go through the roof. Watch your income go through the roof because you're what most of our world calls boring, meaning committed to your life without wrestling and having to decide every single day, am I or aren't I? Am I going to follow my dream today or not? There's no decision. They did a study, Tim, on college football players, and it turns out that 70% of college football players' ultimate dream in their life is to play in the NFL. 70%, okay. Their ultimate dream. But guess what? They don't make the decisions equivalent to that dream, so almost none play in the NFL. Yet 70% of them, their ultimate dream, they say, is to play in the NFL, but their decisions don't match that. So their decisions, they're going like this all day. Maybe I can go to the bar tonight instead of getting a good night's sleep for the game. Or getting faster. Maybe I can work on my game plan. Maybe I can work on getting faster or stronger. Maybe I can spend time with my girlfriend and just, chill. No, they don't do that. They make the wrong decision. But the people, like you started with this professional amateur question, the people who no longer make those decisions, people like me, people who do make it to the NFL, I'm not making decisions. I'm just going like this. I'm just riding the ship right to the NFL. Guys who are better than me, bigger than me, faster than me are making the wrong decisions because they're making decisions. They're going, I think I'm going to go to the bar tonight. I don't know, maybe. And then maybe I'll stay up all night doing this. And then maybe I'll eat some pancakes at 2 a.m. to get over me being hungover. Well, I'm not making those decisions. I know where I am. I'm in bed. That's not a decision. Yeah. I'm in bed, right? Yeah. And so people are always surprised how you can overcome these odds of playing in the NFL. I go, well, it's pretty easy. You just build an environment. You become a pro, meaning you do what you say you're going to do, and you don't succumb to, oh, hey, Bo, you want to go out to the bars tonight? Hey, Bo, you want to skip class today? Hey, Bo, do you want to go, screw around and do this? I don't even have to make the decision. I just go, no thanks, because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, the decision's already made.
Yeah.
So that leads us into the next topic: amateurs versus professionals.
Yeah,
I love it. And so what's the difference between an amateur and a pro? Because as I talked about earlier, most people don't make it to a year. Most people they relapse within their first year, and more than 90% of people relapse within the first year. And I think about it, and I'm like, well, the professionals in recovery, those are the ones that stay sober. The ones that act like amateurs, they're gonna say, oh, well, maybe I can drink a little bit here. I know, this will be okay, or maybe I'll just have a couple of drinks, and maybe I can just have 1 drink or 2 drinks. It doesn't work. That's controlled drinking. Trying to control your alcoholism and your drug use it's impossible. It doesn't work. So that's what I think about. It's like the guy that says he wants to be a professional NFL player, but he's like, but maybe I can just go out tonight and drink a little bit with my buddies. It's only 1 night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's how it's pretty easy. Pros have no options. Pros, think about that. 0 options. So if you want to be, sober, or you want to be an NFL player, you don't have any options. That's it. Every amateurs, they have so many options, and they're constantly negotiating, like you were just talking about, controlled drinking. They're just negotiating with themselves. Like, maybe just one night I can do this and do that. You're just negotiating your dream away. Where if you're committed to being sober, or your commitment is to be in the NFL, then those aren't negotiable. There's no negotiating. You are that or you aren't that. There's no options. There's no in-betweens. They've done a study, great study, and it's so simple, Tim. So if you're, NFL players, it's hard to make the odds against you making it. It's really hard. So, but once you make it, there's only a handful of people who make it to their second and third contract. Well, those are the guys who make all the money, right? Well, there's only two things that those guys do that the guys who don't make any money in the NFL, there's only two things they do differently than the other guys. Only two things. It's so simple. Guess what it is? Two things.
They show up early and they stay late.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. How simple is that? So they don't have an option to sleep in and miss that early thing. They also don't have an option to leave the practice facility early. It's just not in their game. Everyone else is going like this. Should I leave early today? Or should I sleep in a little bit more today and just, show up at the training facility late? It's not an option to a pro. It's always an option for an amateur.
And I think what I think of when I hear you say that is plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Right. That's right.
If you're going to show up early, you're showing up early, and there's no way that you're going to show up late. There's no way that you're going to show up late. Yep. There's no way that you're going to miss any of it. And speaking to being a leader, the leader shows up early. I mean, I think about people going to 12-step meetings, show up early. Stay late. Say hi to a newcomer. Introduce yourself. Be of service. Make a contribution. And it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, whether you want to play in the NFL, you want to be clean and sober, you want to be one of the top people in your workplace. Shoot, you want to be even looked up to in any environment. Showing up early and staying late is gonna help you get there.
Oh yeah. And if that's what it takes, just those two simple things, for me to have generational wealth rather than no wealth, what would keep you from making the decision to not do that? That's the problem. The problem is you have the option to not do that. That's your problem, right? The players that make the money, they don't have that option. The decision has been made. They're showing up early and they're staying late. Pretty damn simple.
Yeah, pretty easy. As they say, it's a simple program. In the 12-step world, it's a simple program. It's not hard. It's not difficult. People make it hard. It's not hard though. It's pretty easy. Like there's a few simple things that you got to do. Okay, so I've heard you talk about course correction. So what does course correction mean to you?
I just think of it as an airplane, riding the ship. So if you and me chartered a flight to Hawaii today, which sounds like a good time, and we're all of us on this live are on this jet leaving Los Angeles for Hawaii. The pilots are going to put it on automatic pilot and eat their lunch and do whatever they do. And for 4 or 5 hours heading over to Hawaii, that jet is going to be off course 99% of the time.
Okay.
99%. So the jet is going to Maui and it's off course 99% of the time. But the automatic pilot has a self-righting mechanism. That's all it is. It's righting the ship as it's off course 99% of the time. It's righting the ship moment by moment all the way to Maui, where it lands within an inch of where it was supposed to land. Think of your life like that. Think of your commitments like that. So if I want to be the best safety in the world, I started at 9. For 99% of the time, for the next 14, 16 years, I was off course. But my job is to right the ship moment to moment. So I would get right back on my dream and off my distractions fairly quick. And you learn to do this over time. That's how I think of my dreams. That I think of, I've got a self-writing mechanism to remember my dreams and what they are and stay focused on them instead of the obstacles, instead of the distractions. So I'll get a distraction right here, Tim, and then I'll start, oh, that distraction's pissing me off. I don't want to do it. And then I'll just have to right my ship right back to the dream. And then the next minute, someone will come up and go, Bo, you can't be the best safety because you're not big enough. And then I'll be off track. And then I'll have to right the ship again and again and again and again.
Yeah, Bo, what I think of when I hear you say that is, there's a guy named Kevin Trudeau. I've heard he did this audio series, and he says, one of the things he says, you get what you think about most of the time. And thinking about your dream, that's going to keep you on the path. And you're going to go off for 5 seconds, and the quicker you can get back to focusing on your dream, thinking about your dream, putting your energy into your dream or your goal or your accomplishment or whatever it is that you want, the quicker you can get back, the better off you're going to be. Because we're all going to get off course, and we're all going to get distracted. We're all going to get a little ADD at times, some more than others.
Yep.
The quicker you can get back, the better off you're going to be.
Exactly right. And here's the thing, people never make dreams or never make goals because they're so ashamed that they're off course. I'm not ashamed when I'm off course. I just right the ship. I know I'm going to be off course. I know that's part of the game. Don't let shame just make you stop your goals and stop your dreams and commitments.
What does it mean to dance with around distractions? I think you already started talking about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, we live in the most distracted time in human history, right? So, and here's the difference. Right? If you notice, you guys, everything I taught, every time Tim asks me a question, I answer it with a little bit of a story, because story is how things go. It's what connects you to people. I lost my train of thought. What was the question, Tim?
What does it mean to dance around your distractions?
Oh, yeah, right. So, Michael Jordan, when he's shooting free throws in an NBA championship game, right? The crowd is screaming, there's all kinds of pressure. There's flash bulbs going off in his face, and he's standing at the free throw line to make this free throw. Every distraction in the world, the cheerleaders are over there, his parents are over there, all the distractions are on him. He doesn't try to pretend that there's no distractions in the gym. Guess what he does? He dances with the distractions. He knows they're there. He includes his parents. He includes the cheerleaders. He includes the press. He includes the pressure. He doesn't try to pretend that he's not distracted. He includes them and dances with them and makes them a part of the free throw. You and I live in the most distracted time in human history. If you have to learn to include distractions instead of trying to pretend they're not there. They are there and they're fine. I can dance with these. These are great. My mom and dad, the cheerleaders, thank you. Great. Come on in. Help me with this free throw. That's what I mean by that. Everyone always thinks, hey, you get tunnel vision and you block out everything else. That's actually not true. The greats don't do that. They don't get tunnel vision. They're inclusive, if you will.
Have you seen the Tiger Woods documentary?
I haven't.
So they show his dad. His dad would talk super loud. He would walk in front of him. He'd walk through his line. He basically was being just obnoxious, things that you shouldn't do when a golfer is trying to play. And I'm just trying to think about it. I don't remember if he was blocking out the distractions or if he was dancing with the distractions. I mean, Tiger Woods is a master when it comes to being focused. So does that mean that he's just making the distractions part of his reality, or does that mean he's created tunnel vision. I don't know. I'm thinking
I
about
would
that as I'm hearing.
I would argue a guy like Tiger, as great as he is, as you know, what a professional he is, he's so, like, the greatest athletes are also the most aware athletes. They're
Right.
present
Yep.
to the world that surrounds them. That's why they're great. I don't think there's any way he could pretend that his dad's not there, because he can see him, he can feel him, he can smell him. So he goes, there's my dad. I smell his cologne. He's trying to mess me up. And little does my dad know that doesn't mess me up. That gives me strength.
Right.
I'm just here to put this sucker in, and I'm going to do it.
And he's learned to play with the crowds, and he's learned to just not be I mean, they're distractions, but they're part of the world. And to your point, he's probably more aware than most people.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just learned to work with it.
He works with it. If you're injured as an athlete, you have to play, right? You're being paid to play. You have to play. You don't pretend like you're not hurt. You know you're hurt. You include that pain in your game. You include that injury while you're playing the game, because you can't pretend it's not there, unless they just shoot it up with Novocaine, which used to happen.
Right.
You know, and then you can't feel anything, but no one wants to do that because you'll get hurt worse.
Yeah, that's temporary.
Yeah.
So why are stories that we tell ourselves and others so important to achieving success or to achieving our desired outcome?
Yeah, because your stories are your destiny, right? Your personal story, especially that one you keep telling yourself, you might not even be saying out loud. The story that you tell yourself about your life, about who you are, that's your destiny. So you actually are the author of this story. So you can make rewrites if you're the author of the story. Like you get to shift story around. Are you this kind of person? Are you that kind of person? Did you come from a family that doesn't achieve? Well, if that's true, if that's a story, then you get to rewrite that story. So think of your story as your destiny. You're not locked in. You're not locked in. You're not obligated to the story you came into this life with. You get to shift it.
Now, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right.
Probably right. Yep.
And those are the limiting beliefs. Whatever you think you can make happen, you're gonna. If you don't think you can stay sober, you're not gonna be able to stay sober.
Right. Yep.
If you believe and you're focused on living your best life, I mean, my experience, the guys and the gals, the people that are focused on living their best life, focused on their dreams, focused on having positive quality relationships, focused on having fun, those are the people that make it. The people that are just like, oh, I just got to stay sober today. Those people don't make it. They don't make it. People that, oh, I just don't want to go bankrupt. Those are the people that are bankrupt. Yeah. Like, whatever you believe you can do, you're going to be able to make happen. Okay. So what's the most important thing to think about when someone is writing their own story?
I'm going to tell you a couple things really quickly. And then you know what I'll do, Tim, is I'll send everybody a story guide so they can start to capture their awesome. Personal story, right?
Okay.
I'll give them access to that because that's really cool, and that will really get them started on their story. First thing, your story's got to be personal. So don't try to make it impersonal like the news media does and like politicians do. That's why people don't trust them, because nothing is personal to them. I want your story personal. The more personal, the better. Okay. Number two, I want your story to be physical. Physical. Even if you're sitting down, we are physical animals, us human beings. We're predatory animals, if you will. We are. I mean, I can't argue with Mother Nature. No one can. That's what we are. Yet, as human beings, we apologize for what we are, and we reduce ourselves to nothing. So I want your storytelling physical. And number three, you got to give. When you're telling your story, you got to give to that story, like all of your spirit, all the generosity of spirit that you have inside you. That's how you tell stories. That's how I tell stories. That's how Tim tells stories, because we love the telling of our own story. And that moves the dial. Most people tell stories like this. I was born in 1961. And 3 years later, saw this, and then I saw that, and then I did this, and then I did that. I go, well, who's going to listen to that crap?
Yeah.
Because you have to relive these stories in front of people. It takes energy. It takes a spirit, right? So those are the things I want as far as your storytelling goes. And if you guys want, Tim, if it's okay, I can give them a number they can text, and I'll send them immediately a story guide where they can start to work on a video that will take them through capturing their own story. You want me to do that?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, take down this number, you guys. This is my text number. It's 323-310-5504, and text story. That's all you have to text that number, story, to that number, and I'll send you how to capture your personal story. 323-310-5504, and we'll start to capture your story.
Awesome. And then we're also here in a little bit, before we end this episode, we're going to give people the link to sign up for your personal story power event. And there's a discount that's going to be available for the people that are watching this podcast or this interview.
Yeah, that's cool, because Tim has taken this 3-day event and wanted you guys to have access to it. We'll knock $1,000 off the price, and you can come to La Jolla. So just like Tim did. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it was a super fun event, and I got so much out of it. And I think about it being in recovery. Being in recovery for me, it was like the 12-step program. That's my foundation. And that's when I started doing the work, the work, as they say. And going to your event is part of doing the work. And people that are in recovery have learned, not just people in recovery, but that's what it took for me to really learn, that I had to continue doing the work. So whether I'm at a yoga wellness retreat, or I'm at a Bo Eason storytelling power event, or I'm at whatever it is, or I'm doing breath work, or right now I'm in yoga teacher training, I'm becoming certified as a yoga instructor. So those are all the things that are considered the work for me. And so going to this event was part of doing the work. And I'm either growing or I'm decaying, growth or decay. And going to this event, or an event like this, has helped me so much. And I'm just so grateful for you and appreciative that you have your event.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tim. Yeah, I'll give you guys the link to that. I'm sure Tim will put it in the chat too. But if you guys want the link to that event in La Jolla, it's boeason.com/power event. Boeason, my name, .com/power event.
Boom. Use that link to get $1,000 off. Okay.
Yeah, use that link. And we've got one coming up in November 7, 8, 9. And then we have one in May. So love to have any of your people.
Awesome. Okay, so we're getting to the end here. So I just got a couple more questions for you. First question, is there a question that you wanted me to ask you today and I didn't ask it?
Wow, you're pretty thorough. I mean, you really covered everything. I'll say one thing, and I think this is important, not only for everybody here, but our world, our kids, is we got to play a bigger game. I think we're not playing a big game. We're kind of playing it safe, and we're kind of holding on to what we got. And I think the higher stakes of a game that you play, the more you can expect of yourself, and the more you will expect of your life. Like if I'm playing a game if I said to myself, hey, I want to be a good high school safety. What if I said that when I was 9 years old? I want to be a really good high school safety in football. How good of safety would I have become? I would have become decent, right? High school player, mediocre, right? That's not a big enough game. So I said, I want to become the best safety in the world. That's a game that requires a lot of the dreamer. I'd like you guys to do that. I'd like you to play a bigger game and use the word the best, or use the word world class, or use the word gold medalist. If you use those terms, your body will find a way to get there. It'll also find a way, your body will find a way if you say, hey, I just like to be a mediocre leader. Hey, I'd like to be like an average skier. That doesn't move the dial. That won't float your boat enough to even get there. So it's just as hard to be mediocre as it is to be the best in the world. It's the same energy that you have to give to those things. If you want to be a mediocre skier, that's going to take a certain amount of energy. To be the gold medalist in the Olympics as a skier, that takes the same damn energy, guys. So you might as well play the bigger game. And so do that with your life, and do that with your kids' lives. Up the stakes.
The difference is being average is like being an amateur. You have to make more decisions.
Yeah,
Probably
that's right.
It's more tiring, more exhausting, because you got to think about everything. Like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? Should I go right? Should I go left? As opposed to just, no, the decision's already made.
Yep, that's exactly right, Tim.
Okay. What is your morning routine?
Morning routine, I get up, I get a cup of coffee. I get up typically between like 5:30 and 6:30. Now we have kids, that have to be at schools. So I take my wife a coffee, and then I start to wake up the kids. And typically, especially now, Tim, me and my son, he wants to be a quarterback. He's 15, and he's a really good quarterback. So we go out and we throw the ball for a short amount of time just to start his day. Very soft toss, just to get into that rhythm before he goes to school. So that's been a morning routine for many, many years. Like when he was a little boy, we would wake up and go work out, or we'd go to the YMCA very early before school started, and he'd get in some basketball. So that's been he's 15 now, so it's got to be for the last 7 years. Right. So now it typically is football, throwing the football. Then we take the kids to school. We're usually heading off in 2 different cars because there's a couple of different schools. And then I currently am like, what do you call it? Intermittent fasting. So I'm not eating in that time, having some coffee, and then I'll get to my meal usually, around noon. And I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of meditation. I do some ice bath plunges. Those are kind of my daily things that I do. But I start off typically with some meditation, usually guided, right? Some are biblically based. Some are like Joe Dispenza. Some are just straight off like, whatever I'm thinking about that day. Yeah. And just asking for like some guidance or some quietness. And then I usually write those things down, because typically, my makeup is to focus on my obstacles in life. I usually wake up and go, damn, what could go wrong today that I've got to battle and I've got to kill and now I'm kind of going through this shift where I'm going, what could go right today? And how can I focus on my dream or my kid's dream rather than the obstacles in front of that dream? That's currently what I've been thinking about and going through here in the last several weeks.
Love it. What is the importance of having a solid morning routine for you?
Well, it really, obviously it starts my day off right. But when I think of morning routine, that starts the night before. Okay. It really does, because my mornings suck if I suck the night before, right? Then I start to bridge my evening routine with my morning routine. I find a lot more success. Like I wear an Oura ring, so I really want to get my readiness score. I really want to see how I recover and how I sleep. So me and my wife have become like competitive sleepers. Like now we're like, competing to who could get the best score. So wine has kind of left my life, as far as like I used to have wine with dinner, and it just destroys my sleep score. It destroys my readiness score. And so if I want a good morning, I can't have wine with dinner. So I've just learned that through, measuring it. So that's been a big thing. And then it just makes it not only makes my morning better, it makes my afternoon better. Like I'm clearer in the afternoon, where normally I would get a little bit foggy. So, and the ice plunge really helps with that. And it also helps with sneaking in 2 workouts a day rather than 1.
What are your types of workouts? What are you doing to work out these days?
Well, one, I just want to get some movement. Like, I want to be outside, like it's either a walk or it's me catching balls for my son and running the routes. I'm 60, I'll be 62 in March. So that's always been a part of my life, but it went away for so many years because there was nobody to throw me the ball, and now that my son, because my brother used to throw me the ball and my roommates and stuff, but now my son does it. So it just feels so. And then the other workout is typically more rigorous, like weights, sprints, something that's like, requires more, which makes it's so funny. It makes the body work that I do. It makes me, like I always say to people, you're probably not playing a big enough game if you're not like either getting in an ice tub or a sauna or getting body work like chiropractic, that kind of stuff. If you're not doing that stuff, you're probably not asking enough of your body.
Yeah.
And,
I'm hearing a lot of wellness, health, recovery in your routine and in the things that you do, which is
100%, because I know, as an athlete, as a former, elite athlete, your mind's never, you still think you're elite. Like in my mind, I think I'm an elite athlete. I still think I'm a pro, even though I can't run. Like sometimes I think I can run like I used to, and my body just can't quite run down those balls I used to, But it's kind of a goal, though. I would love to revisit that speed in my later years, because there's something that's very freeing about running fast that I love.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, I think we've gone over on time, so I think we're ready to wrap up. And so that does it with our time here with Bo Eason. And Bo, I appreciate you. I really enjoyed our time together. And before we end this episode, I want you to go to the review section on iTunes or comment section of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or wherever you're watching. Type the one thing that resonated with you that you heard us talk about. Every comment counts. And what you share could resonate with someone else that is struggling and potentially save their life. So go ahead. Share the one thing that resonated with you. It'll take just 60 seconds out of your day, but what you share could not only save you, but it could also save someone's life. Okay, that does it for this week. I'm Tim Westbrook. I hope that our paths cross again. In the next episode of I Love Being Sober, I'm here with Bo Eason. Again, thank you so much for your time, Bo. Thank you. Yeah, it was a great day. And really fun to, just to share these things with you guys, because it's so crucial. So, and I'd love to see you guys come see me in La Jolla, and we'll give you the same training we gave to Tim. Awesome. Thanks again, and bye for now. Bye, Tim.
If you found this video to be of value, be sure to like it, subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos, leave a comment if you have a question, if you've got something to say. Camelback Recovery provides treatment services for people struggling with mental health, mental illness, addiction, alcoholism. So if you or someone you know is struggling, be sure to reach out to us. You can go to our website, camelbackrecovery.com, or our information is in the comments section below. And we provide everything from detox, inpatient, outpatient treatment, sober living, recovery coaching, sober companion services. So either we'll be able to help you or we'll be able to refer you to people or treatment centers that might be a better fit. So I will see you in the next video.